Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, unpack them, and give you those key insights fast. Today we're getting into something really profound, the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's unpack this one. So for anyone maybe not familiar, the Gita, it's a Hindu scripture, right? 700 verses, and it's part of that huge epic, the Mahabharata. But the setting, it's pretty striking. It's set on a battlefield, basically right before a massive war kicks off. Our mission here is to pull out the really important stuff from your sources, give you a kind of shortcut to understanding what makes this text so significant.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating is just how influential the Gita is. I mean, within Hinduism, which is incredibly diverse, it has this almost universal appeal. Many people see it as capturing the essence of Hindu philosophy. It's definitely foundational for the Vedanta schools. You often hear it called God's Song or Divine Song, and people usually add Shrimad before the name as a sign of respect.
Right. So to really get the message, you have to picture the scene. It opens with this intense drama. Imagine this huge battlefield, two armies ready to go at it. It's the Kurukshetra War from the Mahabharata. And right there in the middle, you've got Arjuna. He's a prince, a warrior.
We're the pen of princes, yeah.
And his charioteer is Krishna, who, well, he's an avatar of Vishnu in this story. So Arjuna looks out, sees the other side, and it hits him. He sees his family, his teachers, people he respects and loves.
His own kin.
Yeah.
It's an impossible situation.
Exactly, and he just breaks down, starts questioning everything. Should he even fight? Should he just give up? Which, brings up a huge question.
It really does. And that's why so many people see the battlefield itself as, well, more than just a place. It's often read as an allegory for, the struggles we all face in life. Or sometimes even as the war within ourselves.
The war within.
Yeah, the constant battle between sort of our better impulses and our, less noble ones, good versus evil inside us. Swami Nikhilananda had this interpretation. Arjuna is the Atman, the soul. Krishna is Brahman, the ultimate reality. The chariot is the body. And Dhritarashtra, the blind king in the story, represents the ignorant mind.
That's fascinating.
Gandhi also saw it allegorically. For him, the battlefield was the soul, and Arjuna represented our higher impulses, battling evil. And Aurobindo saw Krishna as a symbol of how the divine interacts with humanity, and Arjuna as the typical human soul struggling.
Okay, so if it's an allegory, that helps explain something that seems like a contradiction, right? Hinduism strongly emphasizes ahimsa, nonviolence. But here you have the sacred text where Krishna is basically telling Arjuna he has to fight.
Exactly. That's one of the biggest points of discussion, even controversy, surrounding the Gita.
How do you reconcile that?
Well, interpretations vary wildly. Look at Gandhi. He was completely committed to ahimsa, nonviolence.
Yeah, famously so.
And he actually said the Gita inspired his commitment. He saw it as a call to fight injustice, to stand up for what's right, not just passively accept wrongdoing.
Which is interesting because it's not about literal violence for him, but a different kind of fight.
Precisely, a fight for righteous values.
But then our sources point out other views too. People like Stephen Rosen or Stephen Mitchell, they see it differently. More like a religious justification for a warrior doing their duty, their sort of dharma.
A defense of just war, in a sense.
Right. And they mention Indian independence leaders like Tilak who used the Gita to argue for armed rebellion against the British.
Yes, showing how it could be interpreted to support direct action, even violent action, in certain contexts.
And here's where it gets really complex and frankly a bit chilling. Nathuram Godse, the man who assassinated Gandhi, also cited the Gita.
That really underscores the point.
It shows how the same text can be used to justify completely opposite values. Pacifism on one hand, aggressive nationalism on the other.
It's quite stark.
So what does the text itself say about the how-to of war?
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't really go into the details, the means or stages of fighting. It states that ahimsa is virtuous, but its main focus is persuading Arjuna to fulfill his duty as a warrior in that specific critical moment. The interpretation is largely left open.
Okay, so the debate about war is one layer, but the Gita clearly goes much deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely. The conversation between Krishna and Arjuna quickly moves beyond the battlefield situation.
Yeah.
It tackles these huge moral, ethical, philosophical questions that are relevant to everyone, always. Who are we? How should we live? How should we act in the world?
It sounds like a synthesis.
It really is. It draws heavily on the Upanishads, these older philosophical texts. But it weaves together different threads of Hindu thought, like ancient Vedic ritual ideas, the wisdom of the Upanishads, devotional theism, philosophical insights. It brings them all together.
And central to that is the idea of the self.
Yes, the Atman, that's like the individual soul or self. And Brahman, the supreme, universal self or ultimate reality. Their relationship is a key theme. And you can see the whole dialogue as a kind of metaphor for the conversation between the human self and God, or the ultimate.
And different schools of thought see that relationship differently.
Exactly. The Vedanta schools, for instance. Some argue for non-duality, your Atman is Brahman, ultimately. Others for qualified non-duality, you're part of Brahman, but distinct. And some for complete duality, Atman and Brahman are separate. The Gita touches on all this.
So if we're trying to understand ourselves and act rightly, what's the goal the Gita points to? Liberation.
Yes, moksha. Spiritual liberation or release.
And how do we get there? The Gita seems to say the world we see is temporary.
It talks about Maya, not necessarily meaning the world is unreal like a hallucination, more like it's transient, impermanent, like a dream that feels totally real while you're in it.
Okay.
The body, too, is temporary. So the idea is to focus on what's real and eternal, beyond this constant change.
And it offers different ways to do that, different paths.
That's right, multiple paths, or margas. It recognizes people are different.
Like karma yoga, the path of action.
Yes, karma yoga is about performing your duty, your dharma, selflessly. Do what you need to do it well, but without being attached to the results or rewards. It's often called karma phala tyaga, renunciation of the fruits of your actions.
So you work hard, but your inner peace doesn't depend on getting that promotion or praise.
Exactly. You act because it's the right action for you, based on your nature and situation, with detachment from the personal outcome. And importantly, action should follow proper knowledge.
Then there's Jnana yoga, the path of knowledge.
Right. For the more intellectually inclined, perhaps, it's about seeking liberation through wisdom, through directly understanding the nature of reality, of Brahman. The Gita praises it, but also calls it steep and difficult. It takes serious effort.
And Bhakti yoga, devotion.
Yes. Bhakti yoga is the path of loving devotion, surrender, and worship, specifically focused on Krishna in the Gita's context. It's often highlighted as perhaps the most accessible path, the foremost and easiest path to salvation for many.
Is meditation part of this, Raja Yoga?
It is. Sometimes it's seen as a distinct fourth path, Raja Yoga. Other times, meditation is considered an integral part of the other yogas. The Gita definitely emphasizes concentration and meditation.
What seems really significant is that you don't necessarily have to become like a hermit to follow these paths.
That's a crucial point. The Gita really pushes back against the idea that you need extreme asceticism or to renounce the world entirely. It champions inner renunciation. You can live a normal life, be a householder, have a family, do your job.
And still achieve liberation.
Yes, by doing your duties selflessly, with that inner detachment. It makes spirituality accessible to everyone, not just monks or ascetics. It actually disapproves of extreme self-mortification. There's a line suggesting that since Krishna dwells within all beings, torturing the body is like torturing him.
So it synthesizes these paths because people are different.
Precisely. It works from the premise that people have different innate tendencies or temperaments, the gunas, so knowledge, devotion, action, meditation. None is inherently better than the others. They're suited to different types of people, and ultimately they all converge in one and lead to the same goal.
Which raises that important question again. How does this actually work in our day-to-day lives?
Right. How do we apply these big ideas?
Okay, so linking these philosophical paths to everyday reality, that brings us to free will and karma, doesn't it? The consequences of our actions.
Yes, a very practical aspect of the Gita's teaching.
Krishna gives Arjuna some pretty direct advice at the end, right, about free will.
He does. Essentially, he tells Arjuna, you have the freedom to choose your actions. That's your domain. But the results, those aren't entirely up to you. They're often seen as given by God or the universe, frequently influenced by your past karma.
And there are different kinds of results or fruits of karma.
Yes. The Gita mentions three kinds. The ones you want, desired, the ones you don't want, undesired, and mixed results.
And here's where it gets really interesting for daily life. The advice is to accept whatever comes.
That's the core idea. Accept whatever result manifests good, bad, or mixed as prasad.
Prasad, like a sacred offering or a gift from the divine.
Exactly. See it as a gift, something given, regardless of whether you perceive it as pleasant or unpleasant in the moment.
Let's unpack karma a bit more. It's not just about big actions, is it?
No, not at all. The principle is that every action, small or large, good or bad, creates ripples, yields results. And importantly, good actions don't just erase bad ones. They both bear their own fruit in time.
Our sources break down karma into different types.
Yes, it helps to understand how it works. There's Kriyaman karma. Think of this as immediate karma. You wash your hands, they get clean, you eat, you feel full, cause and effect right now.
Okay, simple enough.
Then there's Sanchita karma. This is like the big storehouse, the accumulated results of all your past actions from this life and potentially previous ones whose consequences haven't shown up yet. It's your total karmic balance sheet, you could say.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. And finally, there's Prabdha karma. This is the portion of your Sanchita karma that's ripe, that's allocated for this current life. It shapes your present destiny, the circumstances you're born into, the major events you experience.
So Prarabdha is the karma we're dealing with right now.
Yes, the destiny we're experiencing. And of course, the actions we take now in response to that Prarabdha create new Kriyaman and Sanchita karma. It's a cycle.
Until liberation, presumably.
Until liberation breaks the cycle, yes. The underlying principle is simple, like a law of nature. As is the seed, so is the fruit. If you plant seeds of attachment, anger, ill will, bitter seeds, you're going to harvest bitter fruits, like sorrow, conflict, suffering. But if you sow seeds of love, kindness, compassion, selflessness, sweet seeds, leisureat happiness, peace, positive circumstances, you can't plant a neem seed, which is bitter, and pray really hard for sweet mangoes. It just doesn't work that way. The result matches the action.
That connects directly to the story in the sources about Ramesh Chandra Sharma, the medical store owner. It's quite a stark illustration.
It really is a powerful cautionary tale.
He talks about this specific incident being driven by greed. An old man needed medicine for his sick wife. It cost 60 rupees. The man only had 50.
Even though Sharma would still make a profit at 50 rupees.
Right, but he refused him, turned him away. His business did well for a while after that, but then things went wrong.
Terribly wrong. His son got sick, a brain tumor, all his money, land, even the shop went into treatment, but the son died.
And years later, Sharma himself becomes paralyzed, can't afford his own medicine.
And he says the money he does spend now bites him because he knows how inflated the prices are, how much profit he used to make from others' suffering.
It's presented as a direct consequence, karma coming back to him, even within the same lifetime.
A very vivid example of Rajasic actions leading to bitter ends.
So why should you, listening, care about this? Because the message seems to be that even seemingly small acts, driven by greed or unkindness, can ripple outwards and come back in significant ways.
As the source puts it, earn in a legitimate way. Because hell and heaven are only on this earth. Your actions create your reality here and now and potentially later too.
This also ties into different kinds of happiness, or sukha, doesn't it?
Yes, the Gita categorizes happiness based on the nature of the actions that lead to it. It aligns with the three gunas or qualities of nature.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's sattvic sukha. This is the happiness that comes from virtuous, pure, disciplined actions. Think about the effort needed for learning, self-control, meditation, honest work, genuine kindness. It often feels bitter or difficult at the start, requires effort and discipline, but the end result is sweet, lasting peace, clarity, genuine joy.
Right, like studying hard for an exam, painful now, rewarding later.
Exactly. Then there's Rajatsic Sukha. This is the happiness driven by passion, ambition, desire, pursuing wealth, power, sensory pleasures intensely. This type starts sweet, it feels good, exciting, gratifying immediately, but it ends bitter. It often leads to stress, anxiety, conflict, regret, loss of peace, maybe even harm to relationships or society. Think of unchecked ambition or addiction.
That initial thrill fades and you're left with the consequences.
Precisely. And finally, tamasic sukha. This comes from ignorance, inertia, delusion, think laziness, procrastination, excessive sleep, intoxication, gambling, mindless entertainment, harmful habits. This kind is described as bitter from beginning to end. It might offer a temporary escape or numbness, but it leads deeper into misery, negativity, and dullness. It's ultimately self-destructive.
So the advice is clearly to aim for sattvic actions and the lasting happiness they bring.
Absolutely. Cultivate those actions that might require effort upfront, but lead to genuine, sustainable well-being and peace of mind.
So bringing this all together, what's the ultimate takeaway about living rightly, about dharma?
Well, the Gita presents dharma not just as religious duty or ritual, but as something much more universal. It's about living in accordance with your true nature and the inherent order of things.
How does that look in practice?
True dharma, in this sense, leads towards qualities like sacrifice, meaning giving up selfishness, selflessness, service to others, humility, It's about giving, sharing, contributing.
Like the examples given in the sources, a tree giving fruit and oxygen.
Exactly. Or the sun giving light. They fulfill their function, their dharma, naturally without expecting anything back, regardless of how they're treated. That's their inherent nature.
So for humans, it's about finding our true function and living it selflessly.
In essence, yes. The Gita suggests God grants us free will, but the universe operates according to certain principles, certain rules. Difficulties we face might be tests, opportunities for growth, or simply the karmic results of our own past actions playing out.
And the core instruction is surrender.
Surrender to God is a central message. Perform your actions, fulfill your duties, but do it without ego, without being attached to the outcome. Accept whatever happens as His will, as that prasad, that divine gift.
Because ultimately, we're not the ones in control.
The teaching is, you're not the ultimate doer, nor the ultimate enjoyer of the results. We are here in this life, fundamentally, to learn to grow, to purify our consciousness, our souls.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. We went from a battlefield crisis.
Arjuna's dilemma.
These incredibly deep, timeless insights about duty, action, detachment, who we are. We've seen how these ideas about karma, and especially that concept of inner renunciation, offer a really practical way to live with purpose no matter what's going on around us.
A framework for navigating life.
Yeah. This deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita, it really feels like it offers a profound pathway through the complexities we all face.
It truly does. And if you connect all this to the bigger picture, one source mentions the idea that God accepts humans after testing and examining them on all these criteria. It implies a process of refinement. And there's that powerful concluding verse often cited, where Krishna and Arjuna are symbolizing divine guidance and dedicated human effort working together. There is Shri, prosperity, victory, prosperity, and unwavering righteousness. It suggests harmony leads to fulfillment.
So a final thought for everyone listening.
Maybe consider this. How could embracing this idea of inner renunciation, doing your duties, living your life fully, but without that desperate attachment to specific outcomes, how could that shift your perspective? How might it transform your own daily struggles and challenges into a pathway toward maybe deeper understanding and a more lasting kind of peace?